Hi everyone, welcome to KREM 2 News at noon. I'm Tim Pham. We have quite a bit of breaking news to get to at the noon hour, so let's get right to it. Up first, Washington health officials just announced moments ago they're urging people to wear masks indoors. Health officials, including Health Officer Dr. Frank Velasquez, issued a statement just moments ago asking, regardless of your vaccination status, people should be wearing masks in indoor public settings. Now, this comes after an increase in COVID-19 cases, hospitalizations, and the presence of the Delta variant in Washington. Again, this is a recommendation right now, not a mandate. We'll have much more on this tonight on KREM 2 News, first at 4. Right now, Idaho Governor Brad Little is at Nampa High School to give a COVID-19 update in the state. He's speaking right now. Let's take a live listen in.
Share of those vaccinated over the age of 65. I want to thank those more than 770,000 Idahoans for choosing to protect themselves, their loved ones, our economy, our students by making that choice. To the other half of Idaho adults and the 12 to 17-year-olds who have not received the vaccine, I understand there are many who simply will not receive the vaccine under any circumstance. But there are also a lot of others who are on the fence about receiving the vaccine. To those friends and neighbors of ours waiting to receive the vaccine, the time to get the vaccine is now, when our students are going back to school. We can minimize or eliminate disruptions in the delivery of education, as well as sports and extracurricular activities during this school year, if Idahoans choose to be vaccinated. Our younger population, children under the age of 12, cannot receive the vaccine, and they need us, the adults, to make the right decision now so that they can stay well and have a productive and successful school year. Parents 12 to 17-year-olds and 17-year-olds are also encouraged to have your children vaccinated. Your children's pediatrician can help you if you have questions about the vaccine, and I encourage you to make an appointment to discuss your questions. 195 million Americans have received the vaccine safely. The risk of death or serious injury is extremely low. By comparison, the risk of death or hospitalization from COVID-19 disease is much, much higher, and it's growing. I'd like to share some Idaho-specific COVID activity in our state. The vaccine protects you. Almost all new COVID cases, COVID hospitalizations, and COVID deaths in Idaho since the start of the year were people not vaccinated. Since May 15th, there's been 10 times as many COVID cases, 13 times as many COVID hospitalizations, 8 times as many COVID deaths among unvaccinated people compared to vaccinated people. The vaccine slows the spread of the disease. We need the disease to stop now. There are signs already that we may be in trouble the next few days and weeks if we don't slow things down. Idaho hospitals are once again filling up with COVID patients, almost all unvaccinated, and access to basic health care services is pinched for the rest of us in order to care for them. That means people with planned surgeries may have those surgeries delayed. People that suffer from a heart attack or stroke may find there's no adequate bed available in their local hospital. If more Idahoans do not choose to get vaccinated now and in the coming days and weeks, with the highly transmissible Delta variant now circulating widely in communities across Idaho, our epidemiologists say projections indicate case counts could continue to increase through the fall and exceed last year's peak for daily case counts. This impacts our workforce. We cannot afford to have such a large share of our workforce out sick all at once. Our workforce cannot afford to stay home because schools and daycares shut down due to outbreaks. This threatens Idaho's phenomenal economic success. Our hospitals won't be able to take the influx of patients. And importantly, it is not fair to our students who will experience disruptions in their school year. I have directed $20 million towards expanded testing in Idaho's K-12 schools to help us meet testing needs. And our Back to School Task Force, made up of public health and education stakeholders, has been working hard to ensure there is standardized guidance out there for school leaders as they navigate this school year. I have with me today Andrea McNutt, a Spanish teacher right here in Nampa High School, to share some of her perspectives on the school year. Andrea?
Thank you, Governor Little. My name is Andrea McNutt, and I'm starting my 7th year teaching at Spanish at Nampa High School. As a high school teacher and a parent of an elementary student, I've seen firsthand the importance of in-person learning. Spending the last year and a quarter of the previous year watching the impact of online learning on students, I've watched the many emotions that come along with distance learning and a constantly changing schedule. I watched my students thrive in class and disappear when we switched to online. I watched my daughter cry as she realized she wouldn't be able to do her end-of-year performance in music class, to waking up at 5 in the morning because she was so excited to be reunited with the other half of her class. I woke up wondering if daycare was going to be open that day, or if we were going to have to find last-minute care for my youngest. In my classroom, we built relationships through turned-off cameras, and I got to watch them flourish in person during hybrid learning, just in time for another outbreak to bring us back online before Christmas. I watched my students come back to a new semester unsure when we would be pushed back online, and watched them cheer in my class when we were told we'd be back full-time. I watched my students' attitudes change from one of extreme frustration to one of elation and willingness to try, because maybe with Mrs. McNutt standing by my desk, I'll give it a try and get her off my back. The impact of in-person learning on a student is immeasurable. We have spent a year and a half talking about the resilience of students and their ability to handle change. And I've never been more impressed with my students than I was this past year. The reality is, this year was difficult. The changes were difficult on everyone. As a staff, we leaned on each other more than ever. We spent our lunches discussing ways to transition from online to hybrid to back online, hybrid again.
All right, we were just listening in to a press conference where Idaho Governor Brad Little gave an update on the state situation right now in terms of vaccinations. He's talked about how hospitalizations right now in the state are mainly due to those who are unvaccinated. Governor Little also talked about deaths in the state, saying that about 80% of them were COVID-related, or 8 times the amount of deaths were related to COVID. Of those people, they were unvaccinated. He also said that Idaho hospitals are filling up right now. And so, as we just heard, a teacher, she was giving her firsthand testimony of what the last school year was like. School obviously beginning in just a few weeks in Idaho, and they are hoping to be back in in-person learning, as you heard that teacher say. But we will have a full wrap-up of what else is discussed at that press conference on KREM 2 News First Step 4, and you can continue to watch that press conference on KREM.com. All right, let's take a live look outside now. It is very hazy. Here's a live look at Lake Coeur d'Alene right now. Yeah, really visibility very low right now because of just how unhealthy the air quality is right now. Meteorologist Jeremy Legou is in the Weather Center now. He's been tracking this hot and hazy weather now for days now. He told us this was going to happen. Jeremy, just how bad is it out right now, and what would you recommend? I mean, people should probably just stay indoors right now.
Yeah, especially if you're over in North Idaho, just stay inside. This is what bad air quality looks like. That is literally unhealthy air right there. So no matter what you're doing, if you're outside breathing that is going to have big impacts on your lungs. Here in Spokane, it's a little bit of a different story. We're in that unhealthy for sensitive groups realm. That means if you have asthma, lung disease, heart disease, any sort of respiratory or circulatory issues, you should avoid being outside. We're at that 125 on the AQI, but all around us is some of that more unhealthy air, and unfortunately, that's kind of what sticks with us. Temperatures on the rise, 86 in Spokane, 84 in Coeur d'Alene, 81 in Sandpoint. We are in the 90s in Wenatchee and Moses Lake. A little bit of light wind, but we are expecting a little more wind later on this afternoon, depending on where you are. Most of that in north central Washington, where some of those wildfires are burning. And there you go, excessive heat warning in place until 8 p.m. on Saturday. That's for temperatures soaring into the 90s and up into the triple digits across much of the inland northwest. Not really any cloud cover. Really, that is all just smoke from some of those ongoing wildfires. And if you step outside, it looks almost overcast. It's basically what we get for the rest of the day as temps climb into the upper 90s and stay there. So expect more of this as we head into the weekend.
Well, those triple digits are back this week, and now that the city of Spokane is opening cooling centers for anyone who needs some relief from that heat. Cooling centers will be back open every day from 11 to 8. Anyone can stop by the Louvre Carousel or any of the 5 Spokane libraries to take a break from the hot temperatures. They will stay open until our forecasted highs drop below 95, which means they will be open through the weekend. STA is offering free door-to-door rides to the cooling center. They just want you to call the number there on your screen to schedule a trip. Now to an update now. We know that a discarded joint started a house fire in Pullman, displacing several students and destroying 2 houses. Investigators say the fire was started accidentally by embers from a joint smoked by 2 visitors. They were able to determine strong winds ignited the embers, which spread rapidly to the house. 1 firefighter was injured, but no one else was injured during the incident. Here at noon, 3 structures burned down due to the Cub Creek 2 fire near Winthrop. The Cub Creek 2 fire grew to more than 62,000 acres and is 54% contained. Firefighters continue to battle the fire, and crews are monitoring the fire's growth near Farwell Creek and Disaster Creek. The cause of the fire is still under investigation.